to get around the situation where you have team members who will disengage and quietly quit, having a results-oriented workplace allows you to keep them engaged because you're not going to be focused on where they're doing their work and when they're doing their work. You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question. What has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling. I'm the business psychologist, the author of the 4-Week Vacation and the How to Hire the Best series, as well as the founder of Tap the Potential, where we coach entrepreneurs like you to design sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. Because after all, we believe work supports life, not the other way around. Weekly on the Profit by Design podcast, we bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire. There have been a lot of changes in workplace expectations over the last few years because of COVID, and many have gone to working remotely. And that, especially when COVID first happened, we had teams that had been in traditional work environments in offices, and now all of a sudden we're having to work remotely. And I remember one of the questions that I got asked frequently was, how do I know if my team members are being productive when they're working at home? When they're in the office with me, I can just walk down the hallway and peek in their space and see if they're working, but I can't do that when they work from home. And what I thought was so interesting about that conversation is so much of our notions about how we work are really outdated. And it's time for us all to step back and re-examine the best practices when it comes to creating a great place to work where team members are highly productive and highly engaged. Because when it comes down to it, all the research shows that it's not about the number of hours we work. It's not about the face time that we're putting in. It's about how effective and how productive we are during that time. It's about the results that we are delivering. And so today I want to share with you a new framework to think about how you're measuring results and productivity from your team members that will totally free you up from having to worry about, are they on social media during the workday, and are they checking emails? Are they not focused on what they're supposed to be doing? It is time to really focus on hiring those A players that you can count on, who are dependable and reliable. Give them a clear result that they're responsible for. Train them in how to deliver that result, and focus on whether or not they're delivering the results versus how many hours are being put in. When you start shifting and thinking about productivity in your business this way, you're able to offer perks that are being offered out there in the world, like the 4-day work week or vacation time. And as long as results are being delivered, team members can take vacation whenever they need to. And if there's clear results that need to be delivered and clear systems in place for delivering results, when one team member is out of the office, the other team members are able to step in and keep the results going. And that creates an environment where everyone feels like we have each other's backs. And now you may be thinking, well, what about those team members who take advantage of that? Well, your other team members won't put up with that very long. And when you see someone taking advantage of it, it's very important to get in and have a coaching conversation with them very quickly and say, here's what's going on. Here's what I notice. It's very important that you maintain your responsibility for delivering the result. And as long as you're doing that, we're going to be flexible with you and allow you to have the time off that you need to attend to whatever it is that's really important to you at this time. Now, your team members will greatly appreciate this move towards a results-oriented work environment, because the number one challenge that employees experience is not knowing what's the most important thing for them to be doing. And that might be painful for you to hear as the business owner, that many of your team members may not know what it is that you really want them to do, and they may struggle to prioritize their time. At Tap the Potential, in our leadership bootcamp program, I have the privilege of working with the A players on our clients' teams. And this issue comes up over and over, that they're not real clear on the number one result that they're responsible for delivering. And here's why this happens. And it's pretty common in a small business, because small businesses, it's just the nature of the beast that we have limited resources and we have to run with lean and mighty teams. So there's always more work that could be done than is possibly getting done. And so when you're an A player in a growing small business, and the A players take on more and more responsibilities because they are very willing and eager to jump in and just do whatever needs to be done. Well, as they take on more and more responsibilities, their list of to-dos gets bigger and bigger. And one of the things that we business owners have to be aware of is we don't always remember everything we have delegated. And so you've delegated things, you forgot about them because you delegated them. Meanwhile, your A player team members have this growing list of things that have been delegated to them. So this is why it's so important to have those weekly one-to-ones, so that your team members have the opportunity to tell you, whoa, Nellie, I've got a lot going on here and I'm getting overwhelmed and I'm not sure where to focus. And so when you have a results-oriented work environment, you can always come back to the one result that they're responsible for delivering. And in How to Hire the Best, I talk about when you go to hire, how you want to get really clear on the number one result that you need that team member in that role to deliver. And then you want to hire for the personality strengths needed to deliver that result exceptionally well day in and day out. And so rather than overwhelm you with telling you, you should look at every role that you have currently in your business and you need to get a clear result in place for that role, I want you to do what we do in the How to Hire the Best course, which is just pick one role in your business. And I recommend that you pick the entry-level roles, because those are the roles probably where you experience the most turnover. Those are the roles where your team members are coming in brand new and they're not sure what's the most important thing for them to focus on. So if you get clear around the sweet spot of your business, those are your top clients and customers, your area of innovation, what makes you unique and different, what are your top clients and customers appreciating most about what you do, and you get clear on how that drives the profitability of the business. And then you think about, what roles do I need to serve that sweet spot of the business? And you look at your entry-level role and think about, how does the person in this role serve our top clients and customers? And what do I need them to do that impacts our profitability? And when it comes to impacting profitability, team members can either make money for the business or save the business money. So as you identify what is the one thing that I need this person in this entry-level role to do, if they can't get anything else done in a given day or a given week, identify that one thing and then put a metric around it, some way that you can measure it, and start collecting baseline data. So ask your team members who are currently in that role to start tracking their results that they're getting in relation to that metric. And you're getting some baseline data so you can establish an expectation in that role for incoming team members as you're training them. And that also becomes a way that you can quickly train them and get them up to speed, because you'll have a way to measure whether or not they're being successful. Your brand new team members are going to greatly appreciate this, because when you're brand new on a team, there's so much to learn and so much to do. If you don't know what the number one result is that you're responsible for, it's easy to get lost in the weeds and not know where to focus your attention. But this also helps your existing team members, because if they know the number one result needed from the entry-level team members and the frontline team members, they're able to come in and support your entry-level frontline team members in delivering those results. And remember, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that it's critical that you're creating a safe, supported work environment. A safe, supported work environment develops when team members feel like we have each other's backs here. So if the entire team knows what those frontline team members are responsible for delivering, each team member has a role they can play in supporting the delivery of that service. And then as you get those frontline team members clear on the results that they're responsible for delivering, then you can work your way through the role chart and get clarity for each role in the business. If nothing else gets done, what is the one result that's needed? And now the beauty of having clarity around the results that each team member is responsible for, you have the opportunity to coach your team members in one-to-ones from week to week around delivering that result. And this is so much easier than to try to coach a person. Instead of trying to coach a person, you're coaching a team member around delivering a result. And so what you're doing is you're becoming a thinking partner with your team member, and you're saying, let's figure out how you can be more effective at delivering this result. What support do you need from me? Where are you getting stuck? What challenges are you coming up against? And this allows you to take the focus off of coaching the person and now you're shifting to working with your team member to figure out how they can be better and more effective at delivering a result. The other beautiful thing that happens when you have clear expectations for results, your team members who are disengaged and who are undermining your culture, you've heard a lot recently in the media about quiet quitting, which is employee disengagement. And employee disengagement has always been around, but the quiet quitting description is a new way of describing it. And it's being fueled by employees being called back into the workplace after they've had the opportunity to work remotely for so long, and they've experienced how good it feels to have flexibility and freedom to figure out when they're going to deliver a result and how they do their work. When we are in control of how we do our jobs, our stress level decreases significantly. So to get around the situation where you have team members who will disengage and quietly quit, having a results-oriented workplace allows you to keep them engaged, because you're not going to be focused on where they're doing their work and when they're doing their work. There are certain activities that absolutely must be done in an office or must be done out in the field in a certain setting, but not all aspects of every job have to happen in a certain setting. So anything that you can offer flexibility around will support you in keeping those team members engaged, and it'll avoid the quiet quitting phenomenon. But also, you'll be able to pick up very quickly if someone who has been previously engaged in their work starts to become disengaged, because their results will slip. You'll see it. And if you're tracking your numbers from week to week in one-to-ones and they're looking at their numbers with you, their numbers will show it. And this allows you that opportunity to have a conversation around what's going on. I noticed your number went down this week. What's behind that for you? But if you don't have a result that you're coaching around, those conversations become much more slippery and difficult to wrap your arms around, because now you're just saying, I notice you don't seem as excited about your work. I notice that you seem like you're kind of checked out. And all of that is very easy for someone to say, no, I'm happy. I'm excited. I don't know what you're talking about. But when you have results that you're tracking, You can't refute the results. And it's not about, hey, you're a screw up. You're just saying, hey, something's going on here. Let's figure this out together. And it's that partnering where you're partnering together to figure it out, where your team member feels supported. They're much more likely to be open and honest with you about what's going on. And you'll be able to find out what you need so that you can keep them engaged. And if there's any adjustments that you can make to support them and keep them engaged. The other opportunity that gets created by having a results-oriented work environment is the opportunity to play games and make achieving results fun. So once a team member has a clear result that they're responsible for and it's benchmarked, then they have the opportunity to better their best from week to week and month to month. And one of the things that happens as we do something over and over is we find shortcuts. We find ways to do something more effectively so that it takes less time. So encourage your team members to look for shortcuts. Now, when you do that, though, you need your team to be aware of your immutable laws and what you expect from them about how the work will be delivered so that they're not taking shortcuts that impact quality or client or customer experience. So when I'm talking shortcuts, I'm talking about ways to do something more effectively. So maybe something that is being done currently takes 5 steps to do it. And your team member identifies that, you know what, for the result that's needed here, this could actually be accomplished in 3 steps. We could eliminate 2 steps and we would still maintain our quality and our client and customer experience. So those situations when you have a result that they're responsible for and you empower them to find ways to do their jobs more effectively, that gives them the opportunity to innovate. And this is what we need in our businesses. We need our team members to be innovating and finding things that can be done more efficiently and more effectively. That impacts our profitability. When something takes someone less time and fewer steps, that is an immediate impact on the profitability of the business. But back to the fun part, and that's being able to play games. So you can set up competitions, not where your team members are competing against each other, but where they're competing together to work towards an overall company result. Once it's really clear how each person has a role and a result that they're responsible for delivering and how it ties to the sweet spot and the profitability, it becomes much easier to establish company-wide quarterly goals or weekly goals that support a quarterly goal. And the entire company can work toward the achievement of that goal. And there can be fun prizes along the way that everyone experiences. So maybe like a pizza party on Fridays or a big team outing or a team retreat at the end of the quarter when something is accomplished. So I hope what I've shared with you today has sparked your thinking about how you can move towards a results-oriented work environment, or if you're already establishing a results-oriented work environment, some next steps that you could do to take this to the next level for yourself. And I want you to know we have the next Coach Approach course coming up. Coach Approach is where you learn how to coach your team members for engagement, accountability, and their performance. So if that's an area where you struggle in your own leadership, or you have leaders in your company who you want to be more effective coaches, take a look at our Coach Approach course. We typically offer this about once a year. So if this interests you, now's a great time to get signed up and plan to join us. Go to tapthepotential.com/coach-approach. So Coach Approach is hyphenated in that URL. It's tapthepotential.com/coach-approach. Thank you for spending time with us today. Join our conversation in the Entrepreneurs Take Your Life Back Facebook community at tapthepotential.com/group. Share your aha moments from today's episode, ask me questions, and join in on the fun with your fellow entrepreneurs on the journey to designing sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. And finally, share today's episode with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. This is real life business. Keep your chin up, keep moving forward. You got this. If you've gotten value from today's show, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you are a repeat listener of the podcast, know that we greatly appreciate you at Tap the Potential. And to that end, I have a request. Please consider leaving us a review on whatever platform you're listening on. Our reviews help other entrepreneurs like you to find us. Be a part of our movement to help entrepreneurs take your life back from your business.